Very good morning and welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka on MTV Sports. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of November 2012, and you're joined in with me and Harith. Harith, welcome to you. It's nice to have you back.
Hi everyone, yeah, nice to be back and Good Morning Sri Lanka. Lovely Wednesday morning we have, and as always we go on to teachers sounding alarm bells. Mevan, on the headlines, well, alarm bells must be sounding around at your homes, but teachers sounding alarm bells around the country, and an island-wide strike to be taking place on the 4th of December.
Now that's dangerous stuff, Harith, because you know we've just coming after an education crisis, and if this is going to continue, it's definitely not good news.
And poor old Minister Bandulu Gunawadan back again in action. They have written to him regarding their demands, for example, their promotion, their salary anomalies, etc., which has been promised by the government and have not been met. 225,000 officials from the teachers union are set to strike on the 4th of December. So good news for the students out there. We might not have school.
But definitely a very threatening news piece for the entire education sector.
It seems education never seems to recover. And also, Mevan, we have another headline. If you're out around Valikada or anywhere around the areas where these prisoners have escaped, you better be careful, because there are still 9 inmates who have, 9 inmates have actually surrendered, but there are 11 possibly unaccounted for with their weapons who are around and about on the streets, and we don't know what's going to happen. Weapons and these inmates who are out on the road free now.
Definitely, and also if I'm not mistaken, they are going to discuss this at the next parliamentary session, and the government is supposed to give a statement on what exactly happened and who exactly gave the orders for the special raid that was carried out.
In fact, Mevan, there was a lot to discuss, because the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka has launched a proper investigation to the matter, because they say prisoners of course are human beings and they have no right to kill them on the spot as what happened. Were their rights infringed? Well, it will be a very interesting matter, because it's a matter of precedent for Sri Lanka. Otherwise what will happen is every time there's a riot, there will be prisoners dead.
True enough. And I think you have another story on
Supreme Court. Of course, the Supreme Court has given a very interesting decision after 10 years under the high security zones, that they are allowing the petitioners after 10 years to occupy their right to occupy their houses located in the north where the high security zone previously was, which was taken away for national security reasons. So it's a good decision by the Supreme Court, giving them the right to challenge and come back to their place that they were living those days before the war.
And it also sets a good precedent because of this intervention, and also people will feel that that they've been given what they rightfully deserve.
Yeah.
True enough. And moving on to some business news. Now, the Stockbrokers Association hears the 2013 budget as development oriented. Now, the CSBA, that's the Colombo Stockbrokers Association, has said that the budget which was presented by President Mahinda Rajapaksa was development oriented, and it would definitely help the stock market going on in the future.
There was definitely increasing sentiment on the stock market just after the budget. I think the most important thing was the 20% tax holiday for companies that list on the stock market now. So it's a very good incentive.
True enough. And another interesting story, Sri Lanka and Uganda seal enhanced bilateral ties. Now Sri Lanka and Uganda are looking forward to enhancing bilateral trade ties between the two countries, and it's going to cover a load of different industries as well. And what's important is that after a 30-year conflict, and we're recovering as well, so this kind of bilateral ties and strong relationships in the future will definitely help Sri Lanka.
It's a great thing, Mevan. For once we are giving the aid to another country without getting the aid to ourselves. So good for Uganda and Sri Lanka and our future partnership, isn't
yes
it?
And let's move on to some sports news now. Harith, we've had a few celebrities in terms of sports also coming down. Mahed Risdale was in the country a few weeks back, and also Britain's greatest Olympian, or arguably the greatest Olympian, Sir Stephen Redgrave has visited Sri Lanka on a goodwill mission, and he's going to be conducting some workshops with the school children as well. Definitely inspiration and motivation for everyone who probably could meet him, because he's one of the greatest Olympians of all time. He won 5 consecutive gold medals in the Olympic Games from 1984 to 2000, and a bronze medal in 1988. So that's probably good news as well. And moving on to cricket. Now, Angelo Matthews, the newly appointed vice captain of the cricket team, has broken through to be number 5 number 5 all-rounder in the ICC ratings, and that's definitely good
Great
news
for
as well.
Matthews. Yeah. Speaking about all-rounders, Jacques Kallis, what a fantastic performance in the first test with South Africa and Australia, scoring a brilliant century in the first innings. But South Africa has to be a bit careful because Australia came out on trumps yesterday in the test match ending in a draw at the end of the day. However, South Africa, world's number 1, seemed to be challenged under Australian conditions.
Cricket is always an undecided game. You can never say who's going to win right up to the end. That's the beauty of the entire thing. But Harith, right about now, we'll take a short break. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, we have a very interesting discussion with some of the people who are involved in the design industry. And so stay tuned to Good Morning Sri Lanka.
Hello there, and welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka with me, Harith, and Mevan here. And we have a very interesting interview coming up. We have the Sri Lanka Design Festival is happening on the 15th to the 18th of November, Mevan, at the Mount Lavinia Hotel. And to talk about this event, we have here today in studio Mr. Nikhil Hydramani, a board member of the Sri Lanka Design Festival. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And also Mr. Mike Todaro, who is the managing director of the American Apparel Producers Network. Professionals Network, I'm sorry. So, welcome, Mike, and welcome to the show, gentlemen. Now, Mevan, it's an interesting concept that we have a wonderful array of events coming up with this program, and so much to discuss about the Sri Lanka Design Festival.
Definitely. Let's start away with our first question about what exactly the Sri Lanka Design Festival is all about. Nikhil, if you'd just like to run us through some of the main features of SLDF.
The Sri Lankan Design Festival started, it's in its 4th year this year. And it's a real showcase of what Sri Lanka has to show on the creative industry. It was started by Linda Spendelund, who is at AOD, Academy of Design, and she really, as I say, wanted to show what Sri Lanka had to offer. We look at apparel, which is obviously a key aspect of design industry, arts and crafts, education, design education. In recent years, we've also looked at architecture and sustainability. Obviously, it's a key part this year as well.
And probably, Harith, you might want to know a bit about the SLAAF and what exactly that is.
Yeah,
and Mike, if I'm not mistaken, you're the event chair for that as well.
I'm just here for the South Asia Apparel Leadership Forum. It's one of the events during the SLDF.
Now, the SAALF, the South Asian Apparel Leaders Forum. Nikhil, if you can give us a little idea about what this is.
Well, you know, the apparel industry plays, as I say, is a major part of Sri Lankan industry here, and obviously plays an active part in the creative and design industry. People who study at AOD obviously want to understand more about the apparel industry, and obviously it's a very large industry here. It's a $4 billion industry, the garment export industry. So it was very important to have the apparel industry involved in this. And we felt that it was a great idea to have a forum where we could actually discuss issues related to the industry, where we bring in people from abroad, people from different retailers, from educationalists, from suppliers, put them all in one room and discuss the issues related to our industry. And we're very fortunate this year to have a great variety of people. I think we have 53 or 54 international delegates coming in, plus obviously key icons from the Sri Lankan apparel industry, all there in one room, which Mike's going to actually moderate and chair on Saturday.
So from there, Mike, we can come to your role with the SAALF. Exactly where do you come in, Mike? What is your involvement with this whole project?
Well, I've spent about 20 years in the industry, and the organization that I run in Atlanta, Georgia, has pioneered a unique kind of meeting. Every company in the world competes with one another as a supply chain, but no one has a meeting of them as a supply chain. And we've pioneered that concept, brought all the key industries into one room, learned how to pick several issues and attack them without PowerPoints or sales presentations in a very interactive format. And it was really interesting 3 years ago how the concept for this forum just kind of bubbled up naturally at the Sri Lanka Design Festival, and I was very honored to be invited back to stir it up and make it a little bit disruptive and try to get some exciting and new results.
All right.
Now, it's probably interesting when you have all the competition in one room. So how is your experience in, how do they react to these kind of meetings?
Well, my experience is it's very easy to lose control of a meeting like that because you're dealing with people who are meeting people they would never otherwise meet up and down the chain, and yet there's a saying that those of us who are closest to the action are often furthest from the truth. And so when you get these people in the room from different industries, they're so close to their industry that they can't, from the outside, see what's happening. And the real privilege and honor that I have as an American is to come into Sri Lanka and look at you through a completely different lens. I believe in this industry from beginning to end, from the dirt to the shirt, through the whole supply chain, there's only one story. Everybody does it differently, but man, does Sri Lanka do it phenomenally well.
There are so many sayings, as Mike said, from the dirt to the shirt, from the thread to the retailer, and we have the design school coming with the manufacturing and the apparel. So Nikhil, there are several people who are going to be a part of SLDF and this forum. That is why we are bringing this forum together. In fact, so many different personalities. If you can elaborate quickly as to who are these personalities, why are they here, what is their role?